So in this first part of the exorcism, we will teach you how to build up a relationship and rapport with the first spirit you will use in this ritual, which is Lavalian To Summon, the tantric priest of the old clans and the master of the left-hand path. Now, I need to elaborate first what this exorcism will be about. It will be about you calling those two powerful spirits according to the ancient tantric tradition in order to aid you in getting rid your house, yourself, or your family members from malevolent dark energy. So, you will call in this ritual Lavalian To Summon and Vinaya Kadantin, and the first part of the video will be and will teach you how to work with To Summon himself. Now, this is something I need to elaborate. Before you try this exorcism, it is recommended to call each of those spirits individually for a few nights, to build energetic rapport with them and get to know them and tell them to aid you a little bit in whatever you want to banish before calling both of them in the grand ritual as instructed. You need a little bit of spiritual weightlifting for this before you do this. But the first part will be about Lavalian To Summon. This is so far the first time somebody published tantric exorcism online, so enjoy this unique opportunity. All of the information provided here is given to me by the Ion World Foundation, so their Patreon will also be in a description for those interested in contacting them. So enjoy this unique opportunity and thank you for support. Practice the exorcism as prescribed, contact the entities, and it will definitely help you somewhat and maybe even completely solve your problem depending on your spiritual level.
Today we are going to talk about Lavalian To Summon, the Ionic High Priest of old Chilean Dravidian civilization. According to the old Dravidian texts, in a now sunken part of India, which is now underwater, long ago existed the ancient Dravidian Chilean civilization. Within that civilization lived spiritually evolved people who pretty quickly discovered, through the aid of Murugan Ayan, the incarnation of the one of the Hindu gods, how to open the gateways between different celestial and underworld realms and communicate with the spirits there. They communicated with those spirits through use of ancient Dravidian technology of yantras. They inscribed certain symbols, combined them with certain mantras, scribed into those symbols, and through use of the mantras and yantras, they managed to open gateways into other realms. Murugan Ayan incarnated many times in order to guide the old Dravidians in the science of linking and communicating with the different beings from celestial and underworld realms. In Dravidian Ionism there is no good and evil. There is only positive and negative. So for thousands and thousands of years, the old Dravidians communicated with the gods and with asuras, with the entities of heaven and underworld, and they accumulated the great knowledge. Murugan Ayan also taught the Dravidians many secrets, because back in the day, according to the old Dravidian teaching, there was no such a strong veil between the worlds. Veil was much weaker or even non-existent during the long ages. So Murugan incarnated regularly to communicate with humans and teach them sciences. Kalayans, Dravidians, they became really powerful. They developed many technologies for which we do not have equivalents right now. They became a really spiritually and technologically advanced civilization. And when civilization of their power reached peak, certain really powerful and spiritually gifted individual was born. His name was Lavalian Gatisaman. He was attuned to both celestial and infernal realms. But he was what we call today a left-hand path-oriented individual. He believed that connection with the Brahman is easier to achieve through destruction. Therefore, he heavily worked with destructive and negative entities, such as pretas, bhuts, pishachas, asuras, and other beings of the underworld. Alongside his assistant, Adhavena, he became really powerful, and he studied to great length science of unifying with the Brahman oneness through destructive means. Gatisaman, because of his sorcerer's knowledge, became one of the key advisors to the Kalayan emperor, and he accumulated great political power. So, when he reached such a power, Gatisaman finally started moving into motion his plan. It is not clear, did he receive his plan from his own head, or he received the plan as instruction from Murugan, or from Shiva Kalabhairav. What is known in the Ayanist scripture is that Gatisaman had certain vision in mind. He wanted to unify all of the Dravidian schools of thought under one banner and perform a great ritual. A ritual which will unify the Kalayan emperor with the Brahman directly, and in this way create a living barrier between king and the source of all creation. He will create a living link between king and the source of creation, so that Kalayans can be ruled by the source of creation himself and usher the new unprecedented infinite golden age, which will have no ending. That was the plan of Lavalian Gatisaman. So he started moving his plan into motion. He raised the armies of the Kalayan emperor and started forcefully unifying all of the Ayanist schools of thought, all of the Ayanist factions and fractions under one banner. Because according to the Ayanist scripture, the Dravidians, the Kalayans, they had the emperor, but a lot of people within the empire believed in different schools of thought than Lavalian. They were not tantrics, they had their own visions of spirituality. So they had certain autonomy and they didn't want to participate in the great Kalayan rite. But Gatisaman didn't listen to it. He wanted to perform ritual. He wanted to perform the rite. So he raised the armies and attacked, and in many instances slaughtered all of those who opposed him and his rite. And the day came when all of the Dravidian lands were unified under Gatisaman and the emperor, and the great rite was performed. Gatisaman, alongside his sorcerers and his assistant Adhavena, called Ashura Kalanemi, Shiva Kalabhairav, Kali Devi, and he also called Pishacha Mayalakan in order to facilitate the great Kalayan ritual. He used the energy of those four powerful entities alongside numerous power of many sorcerers, as well as large amount of human sacrifices, which was uncountable, in order to link the emperor to the Brahman directly through the rites of the left-hand path. Unfortunately, what happened as a result was not what Gatisaman expected to happen. Through the power of Shiva Kalabhairav, the ritual didn't bring connection of the emperor to the Brahman. What ritual brought forth was the cataclysmic destruction of the Ionic civilization, of the old Kalayan Empire, and obliteration of the majority of people who lived within the empire. This was known in the Dravidian scripture as a Kalayan incident. In a weird and sinister way, Gatisaman succeeded, because it doesn't matter what we do. In the moment of death, for a second, we merge with the Brahman. So Gatisaman succeeded in a sinister way. He also brought forth the great tantric knowledge of the Abhichara school. His soul can be summoned forth through utilization of the yantra you see right now on the screen. However, there is a reason why this story is recorded in such a way. Many people even today who are tantrics and agoris and mantrics venerate Gatisaman as an example of great statesman, sorcerer, politician and a visionary. But however, it cannot be denied that Gatisaman definitely had some pretty interesting flaws in his character. He was self-centered in his philosophy, too confident, let's say honestly, prideful. He was unwilling to hear the advice of others. That can be said to be his main flaw, and he was also really intolerant individual. In many ways he was a megalomaniac, but it doesn't mean that we cannot benefit from his knowledge. It doesn't mean that merging with Mayalakan or with Gatisaman cannot bring enlightenment. It can bring enlightenment. Merging with Gatisaman in a tantric way is one of the most potent experiences I had. However, working with Gatisaman is really risky, because when you merge with Gatisaman, you absorb the parts of his character. You absorb his cataclysmic philosophy, which ended the entire era, which ended the entire civilization. Gatisaman is one of the most powerful saints of the left-hand path you can conjure. But he is also one of the riskiest to summon. Not because the power of his spirit, but because of the knowledge he wields and the way he directs his initiates to use that knowledge. So today I will talk about how to summon Lavalian Gatisaman. You see yantra on the screen right now. Use this yantra, scry into it, and recite a chant. Ayani Lavalian Gatisaman over and over again. Ayani Lavalian Gatisaman. Ayani Lavalian Gatisaman. Until Gatisaman arrives, until you feel his presence in the room with you. There is one benefit of this yantra technology. It is that those yantras, as you can see, are extremely detailed. Therefore, if you use Hindu Ayanista Bichara technology to summon negative spirits, there is no need for questioning did the right spirits appear, because yantras are designed in such a way that probability for wrong spirit to appear is really small. Gatisaman will arrive. What you will probably comprehend is a ghostly figure of a Hindu scholar with a black turban, dressed in black cloth, holding a scroll of knowledge. This is how he appeared to me. Gatisaman, when you first summon him, will not speak a lot. He will not reveal a lot of his secrets. But through working with him, I discovered a way for him to reveal a little deeper mysteries of his knowledge. You see, Gatisaman is a preta. It means a hungry ghost. What it means for us, the left-hand oriented tantrics? Well, on the left-hand path, we unify with the Brahman through destroying the infinite astral realities which stand in front of the Brahman and us. So, from the right-hand path perspective, Gatisaman is a fallen, hungry ghost. But from the left-hand path perspective, he is elevated rishi of the left-hand path. He is elevated sage. And his state of increased destruction is actually the state of holiness for us. Because in that elevated state of the destructive hungry ghost, he is more capable of destroying on our behalf the infinite realities which stand between Brahman and us as tantrics. So, in order to activate that destructive aspect of Gatisaman, to work on our behalf and elevate us through destroying the infinite realities between Brahman and us, we need to accept that Lavalian Gatisaman will be harsh teacher. What I am suggesting in this video is not in any means safe. Therefore, use the technique of this video with the caution in mind. Gatisaman can be used to bring money. He can be used to bring wealth. He can be used to bring power. But that's not the subject of this video. If you want that, simply summon him through repetition of chant I already gave with the blessing of Guru Daval from the Ayan World Foundation. I want to thank Guru Daval for giving us all of this information. And I want you all to check the links in the description of this video and subscribe to Ayan World Foundation Patreon. I am not associated with the Patreon in any way, so I am not getting any money from your subscriptions. But this is my way of thanking Guru Daval and the Ayan World Foundation through inviting people to check their channel and their Patreon. So Gatisaman can bring money. He can bring wealth and power, but that's not what he is there for. His main purpose is to guide us on the left-hand path to Brahman, as elevated saint of that tradition, as elevated master, who will guide us on this sinister path to enlightenment and union with the source of all creation. In order for us to do that, we need to awaken the predatory nature of Lavalian Gatissaman. And there is one really simple way of doing so. When Gatissaman appears in front of you, or when you feel his presence undeniably in the room with you, tell him that you want to merge with him, so that you can realize the Brahman on the left-hand path and connect to the left-hand aspect of the Brahman, to the destructive aspect of the all. Gatissaman will indeed, from the point of this pronunciation and statement, start merging with you. He will attach to your aura and then he will start entering your body. Every time you request merging, he will merge with you to an extent you can handle, because Gatissaman is aware of limitations of human condition, and he is also aware that if he pushed in us too much power and too much energy, we would go insane. But because Gatissaman is our ancient teacher from the forgotten past, he actually cares about his students. But he cares for them in a really harsh way. Well, when the merging starts and when you feel him merging with you, what you need to do is you need to do a form of a bloodletting. Or if you cannot draw blood, then you simply proclaim the following: I offer you my prana, my life force energy, Lavalian Gatissaman, to feed your eternal hunger, and in return you will do all in your might to merge me with the left-hand aspect of the Brahman and make me realize enlightenment through the left-hand path. Then Lavalian Gatissaman will start to vampirize you, and he will start to drain your prana, to drain your life force energy. His presence will explode in intensity, and you will withstand pretty intense experience. When I say withstand, I mean that he will adapt himself to you. He will never take more energy than you can handle. He will never give more intense experience than you can handle. And he will never try to murder you or make you insane on purpose. However, experience will be really intense. Gatissaman will teach you many things, but I need to say that his mysteries are really difficult to master. Easy to learn, but difficult to master. When the session finishes, thank Gatissaman, and as his energy dissipates, breathe slowly until his energy resonance disappears. Then go and enjoy your sleep, because this ritual should be done at night, preferably at 2 a.m. However, if you are really unable to do it at 2 a.m., you should do it any night hour, but 2 a.m. is ideal. Thank you for watching, and use the advanced methods of this video, or I will not say advanced, that's egotistical, but use risky methods of this video with full awareness that you are responsible for the outcome. I am simply here to introduce you to an idea. I am not here to be responsible for your well-being. However, if you don't want to merge with Gatisaman and if you don't want to feed him in this way, you can simply summon him normally and ask him for money, power, and other stuff. But I wanted to share this because I had a really strong internal urge to do so.
The next spirit you will use in this exorcism is Vinaya Kadantin, the elephant god, the dark form of the elephant god, the shadow form of Ganesh. He is the next spirit you will use in exorcism, and this following section is a video about him and how to call him and work.
So Vinaya Kadantin is a demonic shadow form of Hindu god Ganesh. He is extremely powerful negative entity which resides in the lower realms. He is comprised of almost entirely pure destructive energy, really dark being, really sinister being. He is appeased by sacrilegious acts and the worship of the material world. The main point of his worship and the work with him is to essentially accumulate negative energy through material actions and travel the left-hand path. He is a really powerful guide. He can be used, in my experience, for 4 different things. Strengthening of the magician on all levels. He can be used to protect as well as to cause harm. One last thing which Dantin can be used for is to infuse the magician with enormous amounts of negative energy for the sake of spiritual evolution. You see the inscription on the screen. It is the yantra of the Vinaya Kadantin. And this yantra is used to call Dantin. Now, I advise this only for advanced tantric practitioners who already opened their astral senses through summoning of other negative entities and who are able to presence the spirits easily, because Dantin is not the force you want to offend. You see yantra on the screen. You should draw this yantra during the night, preferably at 2 a.m. while chanting the name of Vinaya Kadantin over and over again. Inscribe the yantra and then chant. After about half of an hour of chanting, the Dantin will be presenced. There is one really important thing you need to know. When you work with the yantras, don't focus on every detail of the individual yantra. Just look at the yantra without focusing on details, kinda stare through it, and chant. After Dantin appears, it's really important to understand one thing. Dantin's purpose is to merge with the human beings in order to help them to understand the Brahma. That is the thing Dantin is willing to do with everyone. However, once you merge with negative entities, it is recommended to keep doing it, otherwise it can lead to negative consequences. So, after you tell Dantin you want to merge with him and you want him to stay with you, you can ask for any material request, preferably the things I earlier listed in the video. So, this is a really short tutorial on how to call Vinaya Kadantin. This is insightful video, it's short for a reason. If you watch this video, I recommend that you watch first my left-hand path tantric tutorial. Now, this is the first piece of my work with Dantin, the first part of the tutorial. In other parts of this tutorial, we will discuss more philosophical aspects of Dantin and what he is and represents on a more higher metaphysical level. This first introductory part was only there to show you how to summon Dantin. And now, after we finish that and throw that out of the window, we will discuss more nuanced philosophical aspects of Dantin and some of the higher applications of his mysteries. So, in this part of the video, we will examine more esoteric roles of Vinaya Kadantin and his relationship with Ganesha. So essentially, the Vinaya Kadantin is according to the Ayan World Foundation and Hindu Ayanist lore I read so far, the third spirit who works in the lower Talic realms according to the Hindu lore. He is the third chief. So the order of the chiefs is as follows: Lavalian Gatisaman and Chudarmanian Adhavena, then Pishacha Mayalkan, and then Vinaya Kadantin. So as you see, Vinaya Kadantin is the third spirit in lie. He is the shadow form of Ganesh, a monstrous elephant which feeds off negative energy and brings destruction upon the world. So Ganesha is known as the one who removes the obstacles, who banishes negative energy. But Dantin is known as one who feeds off negative energy Ganesha removes. So essentially they are two parts of the same circuit, two sides of the same coin. It is not clear, however, what is exactly the nature of a connection between Dantin and Lord Ganesha. Does they represent two aspects of one same consciousness, or two different beings coming from the same source? It is not clear. However, what is indeed clear is that according to Ganesha and Dantin themselves, they cannot be truly seen as separate beings. Dantin and Ganesha are kinda inseparable, yet separated at the same time. However, this doesn't mean that application of Dantin and Ganesha are similar. Applications of Dantin and Ganesha are really different, and their manifestation in the world differs profoundly. Dantin brings difficulty while Ganesha removes it. Dantin brings hardship and negative emotion while Ganesha removes it. Dantin brings bliss in tantric form, in tantric sense, while Ganesha brings bliss in a conventional sense. Ganesha is the god which fundamentally makes your life easier, while Dantin will inflict you with all kinds of maladies in order to make you stronger. However, it needs to be understood that Dantin and Ganesha essentially have the same goal for the aspirant: to make them spiritually powerful and enlightened through different paths and different ways. There is also a third form of Ganesha, which is known as Vinayaka or Vinayaki, and it is a tantric goddess, one of the 10 Mahavidyas. And that form of Ganesha is essentially a crossover between Dantin and conventional form of Ganesha. So, what I also received as a vision, by the way, this last part is unverified personal gnosis. Is a mythology where essentially Ganesha was first a normal being, and then Shiva accidentally cut his head off and then put elephant head on him. And so that's how Ganesha got his elephant head. Well, in the moment in which Lord Shiva put the elephant head upon the lifeless body of Ganesh, that's where the first seeds of Dantin were planted, because essentially at the moment in which Ganesha was created, he felt enormous negative emotion towards Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva beheaded him. But this is just my personal vision. Ayanist lore has a different interpretation. They claim that the Vinaya Kadantin, the negative form of Ganesh, was created by the divine sacrificer who uttered holy verses and holy mantras and created the Dantin from the sacrilegious flame by the power of the left side of the Brahman. This is Dravidian Ayanist lore. So then again, in this case, I would put my personal gnosis below as less compared to the Ayanist teaching. Also, it is said in the Ionist lore that Vinaya Kadantin is not simply a dark form of Ganesh. He is a manifestation of negative energy as a whole, and every single devotee of Vinaya Kadantin, negative form of Ganesh which brings agony, is essentially one scale upon his skin. So Vinaya Kadantin in that sense would be some form of totality of negative energy incarnated in a form of Ganesha's negative aspect. And he would represent a negative hive mind to which all of his devotees are connected. Also, there is a name of famous Vinaya Kadantin devotee known as Ionist scripture. I am not sure am I pronouncing the name right, but I think the name is Zananatin. Zananatin is essentially the prime disciple of Vinaya Kadantin, Ganesha's shadow form, and he is known to be bewitched by Dantin according to the lore. What it really means is that negative energy intoxicates, and it gives you different perspective of the world. It gives you different perspective of the universe, and in that sense, to the outside observers, the one who is devotee of Vinaya Kadantin, the one who is swimming in the sea of current of negative energy, to outside world looks like he is bewitched, but within himself he is experiencing, the devotee is experiencing the negative side of the Brahman, and he is experiencing bliss and agony at the same time, and he is having a spiritual ecstasy. But to the outside world, he is observed as bewitched and insane and crazy. So, this is my interpretation of the Dantin lore, and I will analyze a lot of more things in the videos to come, but let's now turn to the part 3 of this. So in this last part of the tutorial, I will explain in more significant detail how to summon Dantin and what to do. So you will see yantra on the screen, and you will see chant on the screen. So you should wait for really late at night, preferably 2 a.m. But if you cannot do it at 2 a.m., do it some time later in the night. After 9 p.m. is when the energies of the lower entities, of the darker entities, become much stronger. So my advice is this. Okay? Draw this yantra while chanting the chant Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Over and over again. And look into the yantra you drew without focusing on the details of the yantra. Just focus, or just stare in direction of the yantra without thinking about it and chant. After some time, depending on your spiritual level, you will feel the presence of Vinaya Kadantin. Once you feel the presence of Vinaya Kadantin, you will address him with the following words. O demonic form of Ganesh, the Lord of the lower Talic realms, I call you to merge with me and remain here. I call you to become one with you. Then his energy will become much more intense, and he will start penetrating your energy field. While this happens, keep chanting. Once you felt that the Vinaya Kadantin significantly penetrated your energy field, you should ask him for something material. This ritual should be performed every night in order for merging with Dantin to be facilitated. And many adversities, but also the blessings of negative energy, will come in your life. And the material things you requested will happen. You simply need to keep merging on a daily basis. Actually, nightly basis with Dantin for this to happen. And once again, I need to repeat the chant. The chant is Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. The material request should be given only after merging request. Once you start merging, my recommendation is to not stop doing it. Keep merging with him or other negative entities and keep doing it. There is also one other thing which I need to say. Negative energy which you absorb can bring depression and anxiety and all forms of illnesses and maladies. So in order to avoid this from happening, while you are summoning Dantin on a nightly basis, you should once in 3 nights give him alternative version of the request when he comes to you. Alternative version of the request is the following. Vinaya Kadantin, the dark demonic form of Ganesh, I call you to attune me to all of the dark negative energy I already possess. Once you say it, he will start attuning you to the negative energy and preventing negative energy in your system from calling and causing illnesses and maladies into your life. It's really fundamental to alternate between requests for merging and the request for attunement and resonance. So, 2 requests for merging, then 1 request for resonance, 2 requests for merging, 1 request for resonance, and alternate like that the routine. After you asked for merging or resonance in the same ritual, you can also in the same ritual ask for material gain of the kind you wish, or for increase of physical strength. So yeah, I explained in a solid detail what to do and how to summon him. So once again, to elaborate, draw the yantra, and while you are drawing the yantra, you chant Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. After you finish drawing, you simply stare into the yantra and chant until the Dantin comes. When he comes, give him one of the 2 requests presented in this video, and then after you ask him for some of those requests, you can also ask him the same ritual for the material gain or increase of physical strength.
Now, when you familiarized yourself with all of the entities you will use in this exorcism, now we are going to essentially explain to you how to perform it. So, you draw the yantra of Lavalian Gati Saman and you chant Lavalian Gati Saman Atairankuyan Enisuyan. 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 Then you draw the yantra of Vinaya Kadantin and you chant Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. And you chant it until Dantin appears. Just like you chanted until Gatisaman appeared. Now, what you do is you cut yourself and offer the piece of your blood on each symbol on both yantras. And then you tell them the following. I call you Lavalian Gatisaman and Vinaya Kadantin to lift negative energy and banish negative spirits and entities from, and you state name of the person. And then their activity will greatly increase. After their activity greatly increases, you say, Lavalian Gati Saman and Vinaya Kadantin, I offer you negative energy of person so and so as a sacrifice, so that you can tantrically unite with me and guide me on the left hand path. And then you chant, Lavalian Gati Saman Vinaya Kadantin Atairan Kuyan and Isuyan, just like described and written on a screen. And you repeat 2 chants over and over while ritually cutting yourself. So don't go too deeply. The goal is not to kill yourself, motherfucker. You don't commit suicide. You just offer a little bit of blood with every repetition of the chant. Now, don't offer too much blood. Offer blood for about 3 minutes. For the rest of chanting, just chant and repeat your request for purging of negative energy from the person or the place over and over, and sacrifice the negativity to them. You do so, as you do so, their presence grows and it becomes stronger, and the negative energy from your place dissipates. Now, there is one more thing you can do to increase this. Offer the 2 entities alcohol in large quantities, and it will also greatly increase their presence. What you can also do to appease them is you can call them to remain in the house for a long time in order to absorb any negativity in the house or around the people you chose. So, one other advice I have is, while you are doing so, inscribe the yantras in the picture upon your astral body. This way you will greatly empower yourself, and you will greatly empower the efficiency of the exorcism. One thing I also advise is to cover yourself in ash while you are doing so. This is not necessary, but it empowers the ritual. And one last thing is this. So, before you do this ritual, I recommend calling both of the entities for about 4 days and requesting of them to increase resonance and link with you, so that when you perform the exorcism, you will actually call them really quickly, so it will shorten the process. So this video was exorcism video. So before we end this video, there is one really important detail I need to share with you, which is how to depart the entities after you finished all of your exorcism procedures. So what if you cannot, and do not want to work with them after you finished your exorcisms? Now, in that case, I received the following channeled gnosis. You need to go outside in the night, call both of those entities, light a bonfire, and then give them offering of incense, meat, and alcohol into the bonfire. Thank them for all of the work they did for you, and tell them to depart in peace and not reach you again until you call them. Also, offer a few devotional mantras to Lord Shiva and thank him as well for aiding you in your exorcism. This is all of the information you need to have, but this ritual is obligatory if you don't want to work with them anymore. This is what you have to do. So talk to you soon, and I will create much more content for you guys in the future. Guys, if you want access to exclusive content, support me on Patreon. Link is in the description. You will get an access to groundbreaking videos, really cheap rituals, and really affordable mentorship sessions. So don't waste your time and become a patron. You will not regret it.